Welcome to Chris and Carlette Live, a podcast about life, love, and overcoming obstacles. Each week, we discuss the good, the bad, and the indifferent of life's interruptions. Now, here's your host, Chris and Carlette.
Keep believing, don't go stressing, keep it moving. God, we're resting, here to help you, here to bless you. With God on our side, CNC Life.
All righty, everybody. Let me turn this down. There we go. I need to adjust something right quick, y'all. Go ahead and introduce the people who you are, Carlette.
Okay, so listen, I am Carlette, the other half of Chris and Carlette Live, and his better half. So listen, I'm just glad to be here. Glad to be in a number just one more time.
Just one more time.
We don't. Okay, that's a new version.
That's the new version.
That's a new version.
Glad to be in the service. That's what Bishop Scott's saying. Glad to be in the service one more time.
He didn't.
He didn't have to
let
me live. He didn't have to let me live. I'm glad to be in the service one more time.
Okay,
one more
okay,
time.
okay.
One more time. Glad to be in the service one more time. I get my offering from y'all later. If y'all need to reach out to me, to book me for praise and worship, please do.
Okay.
Yes.
So as we were saying, thank you for coming in, joining us. Please like and share and subscribe on Chris and Carlette Live on YouTube and on Facebook. Share this, tag somebody. Love to invite you into this great conversation we have. But before we go there, how was your week last week?
My week last week was fantabulous.
Another reason why we were not live.
Yes, we went to the great state of, I don't know how great it is, but we went to Florida. We spent some time with my great cousin, Carlin, attorney Terry C. Gray. And we had a good time with him. We had... I think I didn't sign something I wasn't supposed to sign. But anyway, we had a good time with them. And the kids had a great time. They played in the pool while we worked our 9 to 5. That's the benefits of having a job where you can work remote. And then we came on home and talked to Christian on Sunday. He's excited, y'all. This is the week that the Lord has made, and we gonna rejoice and be glad in it. One more time.
Your bill is on.
One more time. What up, Bill?
So, yeah. I started that, and I'm so sorry. I started that. I'm so sorry.
Bill!
So, it's a what? Who is that?
It's a no. I don't know who that is, though.
Oh, that's Mo. That's Mo.
Oh.
So, hey, Mo. But here's the thing.
Monique?
She's on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What up, Monique?
So the thing about it is, sometimes even though we have to work, it's okay to still feel like you're on some kind of getaway vacation when it's a different environment. You popping over the computer somewhere else. So it's okay. So the thing about it, I needed it. I vegged out for real. Vegged out so much I had to stretch my legs. My legs are still recovering. I read it said that when that happens, that means you got too much rest. I didn't even know that was really possible. But yeah, but I'm doing better. So listen, we got a great show tonight. We have someone that is near.
Hey, before we get started with that, we have some exciting news coming up y'all gonna
we
stay
do.
tuned for the next few weeks. We got some exciting news coming up. Stay tuned. You never know when it's gonna hit. We got some exciting news. One more time.
Okay. So anyway.
Okay.
Come on, stop.
All right.
So
I was trying to correct somebody.
I'm just saying.
They like my singing.
Today was a great day.
Yes, you got another phone call from your son today.
I did. It was an unexpected call, him letting us know some things that, these folks is grown now. They grown. They going off to be soldiers. They grown. This, so it's more like, okay, we at the point of, okay. That's all you can say. It's not, he said, you corny. It's not a situation where, it's like, well, no, you can't do that. Nope. It's like, okay, you can say, well, can I make a suggestion? It's up to you, but let me just give you another side. That's where we are now with parenting a now 21-year-old Army soldier.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where we are. Active duty Army soldier.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, but
this subject is for your brother, what we're about to talk about.
this subject is for anybody that has parents that are aging or loved ones. This is one of those difficult conversations that people are not always crazy about having, but it has to be had. Mm-hmm. When is the time to start considering senior housing? Let me tell y'all something. If you fail to plan, okay, you plan to fail. It's okay to make plans for yourself of what's going to happen when you get older. Who's going to do what? Get stuff in place. Now,
this guest we're about to bring on, I don't know why she's in senior living. I don't know how she got
but
past.
We're gonna hear her story.
Yeah, but she's looking too young.
She jazzy, honey.
Yeah, she's looking too young to be in somebody's. I don't know.
And let me tell you something. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
She had a fake ID to get in senior living.
Just because it's senior living does not mean you are old and decrepit.
She had. Let's bring
senior
on.
living is different from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it's a different. Hey, Cordell, it is a difference. You know what? I appreciate him. He is faithful. Brother Cordell Thomas is faithful to the Chris and Carlette live show.
Yeah,
he all right with me, brother.
Right. Just as long as. No.
Anyway, keep it moving. So we're gonna bring in our guest. This is someone near and dear to our heart that we have known.
Yes, for years.
Oh my! At least 20 years.
Some years.
At least 20 years.
Yeah. Her husband was my best friend.
Kenny,
the
elder Kenny Burns.
That Negro, he was
funny.
My best friend
and could make a steak out of this world.
Yes, he's gone on to be with the Lord, but
yes.
we celebrate him even now. That was my buddy. I love me some Kenny.
He was.
What's up, Denisa Burns?
What's up, Chris, Carlette?
Hello.
Yes.
Never thought all these years we would be doing this. Girl, we was working altars together. We was doing prayer meetings. We was on the road evangelizing with the evangelists. I'm telling you, we was doing it.
Yes.
And when I tell y'all, when I was going through breast cancer treatment, she came and cooked at my house. She came to take care of my baby. She came and when I was doing prayer, and the Lord gave her a word that I still remember. It was Isaiah 41. Mm-hmm. Or was it Isaiah 43? The one that says that he will walk through the waters with you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that scripture, I still remember that. And that's what God did with me, for me during that. But she brought that. And I'm telling you, I remember when she even told me, she said, you don't even look sick. You don't look like what you going through. I'm telling you, God's hand was on me, but she was a witness. She was a testament, a testimony, a person who saw the testimony live and in color. Okay.
Yes, I did. I was a witness.
She was a witness.
I'm still witnessing about that thing. I still talk about that to this day.
Wow.
I have taken your testimony and given it to others, and they have taken it and ran with it, and it has healed. Believe me, it has increased the faith of others, and
Praise
others have
God.
been healed by the word of your testimony because I was a witness.
Oh wow.
Thank you, Lord.
Believe me when I tell you that. And not only that, but the fun times in the midst of it all, I
Oh
can
boy.
remember the fun times us laying out in the floor at the church.
Yes, Lord.
The fun times. We're not going to talk about your prosthetic.
Ooh, right. That right there.
Uh
Like playing hot potato.
We can't talk about that now.
No, we cannot.
oh. Uh
We
oh.
Just to
cannot.
say that it was hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I
Just
just
to know
remembered that
that
we
even
played
in
too
the
much.
midst of tremendous, we can't even call it a heartache. I mean, God was just amazing through it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I still believe me right now, believe it or not, I know we're going to talk about that, but right now, my neighbor is going through something similar.
Mm-hmm.
And even right now, I have given her your testimony, and I'm telling you, God is working it out. Even right now, it's amazing
Praise God.
how that one testimony has just worked its way through so many others because I was a witness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
You was a witness. You definitely
Yeah.
were.
I have used that. I mean, it's just amazing just to be a witness.
Mm.
And then with that scripture out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to be a witness. You don't even have to go through it yourself.
You don't have to go through it yourself. Just be a witness.
Just be a witness.
That's good. That is
It's
good.
And
So,
my baby, he don't even remember me, and he is getting ready to come out of the army. Ain't that
yeah.
something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ain't that something?
You babysat him. Yes.
Yes, I did. That was my baby. That was my baby. I don't care I don't care. That was my baby, my vegetable eating baby.
Yes. He still eats squash. He still eats squash. I'm telling
fix
you.
him squash, and he would sit there and eat them. I'm telling you, I ain't had no other child that ate vegetables like he did.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, I have plenty of grandchildren. They don't do it. They don't play that.
So here we are. Okay. Our topic of discussion. Just tell before we tell us about who are you, what you got going on, and how did we get here?
I am Denisa Burns. Look, Denisa Burns. I am I have a ministry. Of course. I am now called out and walking in the office of an apostle. I'm a prophet. I have a ministry called D.A. Burns International Ministries, and I also have a women's ministry that I've had now for about 15 years called Jewel. Jesus Entrusted Women Empowered Women Enjoying Life. It's a mentorship women's ministry that I've been doing for years. And basically, my vision or mission or whatever is to impact the world for Jesus one person at a time. And I was doing a show, it's going to start back up, calling Taking Dominion. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I got this thing in my spirit. I always tell them, we don't believe that we have dominion, but we already have dominion. So I'm just the clarion call for me is to let everyone know that we have dominion. It's just in my spirit to let the world know that we have dominion and we should be taking dominion. It's just in my spirit to let the world know that. I also am a Christian business life coach.
Okay.
I just believe that, and that's what I help people to do business, to fulfill their purpose and their destiny. I believe that it's in them, in all of us, to fulfill a purpose and a destiny. We have talents and we have gifts. And I believe that that part of my talent and my gift is to help others develop theirs.
Okay.
So that basically is what I do in a nutshell.
Okay.
And that's what I do. That's what I said. I feel like that's my purpose, my gift, my thing, as they say.
Okay. All right. So we've heard about Taking Dominion, the Jewel Women's mentoring program. Now, outside of ministry, who are you personally?
Who am I personally?
I'm getting somewhere.
You going somewhere with this?
I'm going somewhere with this.
Who am I personally? I would say first and foremost, I am a woman of God. I have just recently rediscovered, or I have come to the conclusion I'm coming into myself, a woman who is coming into herself finally.
Okay.
I've been a wife, a mother, a widow, a caregiver, and all of these titles and things, an elder, a prophet, an intercessor, a prayer warrior, and all these titles. But in the last 7 years, my husband passed 7 years ago. My family have all passed away in the last 8 years. And I've really done a lot of soul searching in the last 2 years. And I've just in the last couple of years have discovered who I am. And I would say that I am now a woman of God. And I can say that with a smile. I am stepping into the completeness and wholeness of who I am in God. And I'm happy to say that I am set free and delivered. And I'm getting whole. I've been broken in a lot of places and hurt in a lot of things. And I'm at peace at who I am. And who I am a creative woman.
That you are. I got a nautical blanket that was Evan's that we still have. Yes.
When people say, who are you? I say, I don't go by, I do a lot of things. I sew, I crochet, I do all these things. So now I don't even say that. I say I'm a creative.
Yeah.
Because it's like I create things and I enjoy doing that. I write. I'm in the process of finishing up my third book. And so there's a lot of things in me that I'm now actually producing. So, and you know what? I'm content.
Okay.
So I'm really at a place now where I can say that I'm actually becoming who I think God would have me to be.
Okay. All right. So our discussion is, when is it time to start considering senior housing? Now, I can speak for us. We have, it's like there's a plan A and a plan B. That we started working on at least 10 years ago. What we want, the earlier you plan, the better the results. Sometimes, but there is still options. So tell us your journey, how you got to where and why you believe in this.
Well, my of course, me and Kenny had plans, and our plans didn't work out.
Right.
We had plans, just like you said. You and Chris have plans, and we all have plans. We were married 29 years, and of course, we didn't plan for him to have a stroke, which he had after we were married 20 years, and that kind of threw a nice little wrinkle in our plans. But thankfully, God, blessed him, and he did recover just about all. And so it put a wrinkle in the plans, but it didn't destroy the plans. So we were like, okay, we regrouped and we altered our plans. And then he lived another almost 10 years. And so we adjusted our plans, and then we had these adjusted plans. And then he died suddenly. And that, of course, just destroyed whatever plans we had. So at that point, all my plans were shot. I had nothing. So for me, when my plans were shot, really did put me in shock. And uh, I've always been a planner, a budgeter, I've always been business minded. I've always been, one of those people that kind of lays out her life. Kenny was always the more impulsive person, and I've always been the planner. So, then suddenly I had no plans, and my little cart got tossed. And so for 2 years I was in shock. I'll be honest. And and because I was in shock, and because of everything that happened, I looked up, and I didn't have, not only was I in shock, but I also lost income. I lost, people weren't there. I had no assistance. I mean, literally, I was lost. I had nothing. And I had nothing but God. Let's just put it that way. It was it. And my support system, nothing. I had a couple of people, and that was it. And Jesus. So, and then the shock of his death, because he passed suddenly, it just all threw me off. And then I really didn't even have an opportunity to grieve. I ended up having 4 surgeries within the first 6 months. And it was just, to be honest, it was just awful. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And because of the perception that I was a strong Christian Black woman, which I could say I was, but at the same time, when you're thrown for a loop, you don't want to be a strong, or maybe I didn't want to be a strong Christian Black woman, but the perception was there that I could handle it. And I didn't think I inside of myself, I didn't think I could handle it. But the people say, "Oh, the Lord doesn't give you more than you can bear," and that's what I heard a lot of. So after the 2 years, right around the 2 years, it took 4 years actually. And during those 4 years, I literally was in a cave. And during those years, God sustained me, and I slowly began to get the realization, and with the help of the Lord himself in prayer and supplication and the help of strangers, began to rebuild, and I didn't lose my mind. That's my testimony. And I came out of it, and I had to think through some things, and my family members started dying, and I was the one that had to help them. And I started planning, and I started coming to the realization that you have to plan, you have to get yourself together, and you have to think of what you're going to do, because at the end of the day, you have to take care of you. You have to take care. You cannot, you don't really, no parent wants to be a burden upon their children. And you want your children to go further than you. You want to be a blessing. You want your children to be your blessing to you, but you don't want to be a burden upon your children. You don't want to, be a burden upon anyone else. You want to be responsible for yourself, and you want to take care of yourself for as long as possible. And so when you think of all those things, and it's not even a morbid or a sad thing. And like you said, Chris, you're too young for that. I'm too young for all that. I really want to have an active lifestyle. And I was like, I still want to do things. I still want to be active. There's things I want to do. There's places I want to go. I don't want to be. And then the other flip side of that is my children have children. I don't want to be babysitting all the time either. I don't want to be stuck home with the kids. And my daughter has little ones, and I'm like, oh no, I don't see it coming right now. It ain't happening.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna be the chief cook and bottle washer.
Right.
Wow.
So, I love y'all and everything, but no, that's not happening either. Mama want to get out that door just like you. So I started looking around, and I found out that the senior living is a great idea because, like, my apartment, I started looking at the apartments and everything, and there's a couple of things going on. One of the things is when you get older, taking care of a house is just a huge responsibility. And you got to think about that thing. Like right now, you have children, y'all have children, and you have, and a house is wonderful when you have children.
Right.
Because they need their bedrooms, they need space, they need a yard, y'all have a dog. You need all that creature comforts. Believe me, I know. Because when me and Kenny were raising up the kids, he had 4 children. We were a blended family. He had 4, I had 4. So every other weekend we had 8 children.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We needed all the space we could get.
So basically what you're saying is that's that younger life, and now you have transitioned to this, and you don't need all that. You don't need all that.
I don't need all that. When me and Kenny was just me and him, we just needed, we had already transitioned. When we were in Fort Wayne, we was in a condo, and we had, 1.5 baths, and we had, 2 bedrooms because I needed an office and I needed like a craft area. And we had, it was big space because, we had an area for him because, he had to have, I don't watch a lot. We had adjustments for ourselves. He had a space. I had a space. We had a bedroom. And then, we had place for entertainment. We just did that. We just have space for ourselves because you don't need all of that. And now it's just me. And hey, I don't need a lot of space now. I did have a need for 2 bedrooms because I do so many crafts and things. So I do need that space for my crafts. And so it's like, okay, I don't need I don't need to have yard maintenance. I'm not going to be out there cutting no grass.
Right. Well, that's one of the things. That's one of the things that's really being popular right now because I do real estate also. It's that 55 plus community housing. As far as like they could be duplexes, smaller home ranches, easier. You cannot, at least one person has to be 55 years. Usually you cannot have nobody moving in. They have children. They can maybe stay. The most they can stay, I think, is a week. They cannot stay longer than that. There are rules. There's conditions and rules to those communities. The other thing I was going to say is, so I was looking up, right? And I want to start this part off. And it was saying, when I looked it up, they said you should consider senior housing when your needs for independent living become difficult to manage, whether due to health, safety, or social factors, and you are ready to embrace a more supportive environment. Now, I used to be a nurse in the assisted living community. That was one of my favorite jobs because in assisted living and independent living, you hear a lot of stories. They try to keep them as independent as possible, and it extends your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of people don't realize that. I didn't say nursing home. I said independent living and assisted living.
Yes.
It extends your life because the stuff is focused. The activities, the food, what's happening is all about your age group. You're not, you can still be funky and fly. You can still, they got everything for everybody. And if it's something you need, something you want to add to that, they will accommodate. They will accommodate. So what do you say about that? And I have another. But what do you have to say about that?
So when I was in Indianapolis, I lived in income-based housing.
Okay.
Because that's another thing. When you're older, your income changes. Of course, my income changed. I'm retired. And I was in income-based housing, but I lived in an apartment that had stairs. Now, let me tell you, during the time after Kenny passed, I became ill. I had a couple of diagnoses, and I had an issue, and it wasn't seizures, but I was falling.
Okay.
Now, the problem was I had stairs in my apartment. Now, because it's not, it was income based, but I had stairs. I was falling, and I fell down those stairs 3 or 4 times. Now I'm living by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell down those stairs 3 or 4 times with no help, no assistance, no one there. Scary thing. And I also fell outside, and I fell near the street, and the stranger had to help me, and the cars didn't stop or anything. It was a horrible experience. Let's just put it that way. And so, I end up in hospital, whatever. And so these experiences is no help for me because I'm just in, income-based housing. So this now, now they had handicapped and disabled, in the housing complex, but there's nothing there because it's just income-based. Now, this is the difference between senior and income-based. And so when you were saying that it extends your life. Now,
Right.
in senior housing, which is I am in now, this is the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, senior housing, I'm in the senior housing now. And in this housing, there's no stairs, number one.
Okay.
And two, so I also have pull strings in the restrooms and different areas of the house. So if I fall or anything, I can pull the strings, and of course it's going to call into 911. So those things help, especially particularly in the restrooms and things like that. This is what they call handicap accessible. My strings on my lights and things are down lower. It's just a safer environment for me. And it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about that. It's certain things, like you say, they don't allow. I can have visitors. They allow for like up to 15 days. I think they allow you up to 2 weeks. You have to notify them you have visitors.
Exactly.
So they're going to count them days.
They will
Me.
count those days.
They
Yes.
will count those days. You best believe. I'm in a secured apartment complex. I have it's a locked facility. So I have a little scanner to get into the apartment, into the lobby. You have that to get in and into the gates. And you have a call box outside the building. And so you can't just walk in here at all, anywhere around the whole building. You can't walk in here. You have to call box in, and you have to or scan your little scan key to get in, and you have to have a key to get in the door.
Well,
and they have cameras all the way around.
And that's good for you all's protection because
Yes.
it's an added benefit, again, for
Yes.
the senior housing. Now, you brought up something when you said you were falling, and that's one of the things, like this other article I was looking, like it said, it's time to start looking when. Number one, they're falling, especially in the past couple of months. There is a complex medication regimen. You can't remember all these pills you got to take, let alone the doctor's appointments.
Right.
Your loved one lives with chronic pain. Your loved one has a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia. Your loved one struggles with personal hygiene or other personal care tasks. Now, I know someone that had to stop their parent from cooking. Because
now this is the difference. Now this is senior level. When you go to my mother went to assisted living.
Okay.
Because this is senior level. When you get to the levels that you're talking about, that's when, like, I'm at senior level. So I'm a level before assisted. When my mother went to assisted living because she started not being able to keep up with her medicines.
Yeah.
And she started forgetting things, and she started burning. Now, my stove also has that. They have a box on the stove that when you leave something on, it will alarm. It will go off. Yeah, it's a box. It'll go off. And if you leave it on too many times, they cut off the stove. But they also do that at assisted living. And my mother, we had to take her from home to assisted living because of that, because there's different levels. Now, senior living, we're there. If you go to that point, and there is a woman here that's been here that they're looking at they're doing some things with her now that she may end up having to go to assisted living. See, that's the other thing about it is they're watching. And if you do drop to a level that senior living is no longer viable for you, that they will assist you to go to assisted living. Because if you drop to a certain level, and that's the other thing, you know, when you can no longer maintain a certain level of living, you can't take your medicine, or you forgetting to take your medicine, or you're still falling, or you can't seem to cook, or you're no longer eating, or forgetting to eat, or, you know, no longer bathing, or can't bathe by yourself. Because they have, like, I have a 2-bedroom apartment, and one of my bathrooms is a total walk-in shower with a seat in it, and the other bathroom has a tub and everything. So there, you know, if I could no longer take a bath, couldn't get my legs up to get into the tub, I could just take the shower, because it's just a straight walk-in shower. But if you can't do either one of those, then, you know, that's a sign that it's time to evaluate whether or not I either need a caregiver assistance, or I need to be looking at going to assisted living.
Right.
So these things are all valuable for, you know, for these steps that you need to take. And these are things too that a family member, if you're living on your own, these are steps that, you know, you need to evaluate even for yourself before somebody comes in and tells you what you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
you be like,
it's
okay,
that-
like
it's
with
that
me,
hard-
I'm like, I'm happy here because now I no longer fall, by the way. They corrected it and I'm fine. But it's like, you know, I'm so happy here because now I'm safe, I'm secure, and you know, and I don't have to worry about anything, and neither does my family.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Well, and that's the hard, like you said, having that conversation with the family caregivers. You know, you don't lose your love or your badge of honor when you have that conversation with your family to say, okay, maybe the caregiver needs to say, you know what, this is a lot. It's one thing to care for a baby, but it's another thing to care for a full-blown adult that's weighing, I don't care if they still losing weight, they still weighing a lot. And you're not getting any younger. As the day progresses for them, the same for you. So, you know, you have professionals for that. But again, like you said, the planning. Now, I'm going to say this. I've been in assisted living. I'm seeing the difference. Who make plans for what and who don't, okay? Who's living in the ones where they eating on China and sitting there with their pearls and they living over 100. I worked in those arenas. I in those facility, and I don't even want to really call it a facility because it was so fancy and so nice. And every now and then you saw one of us as one of the residents, but you found out because they had this profession and they had this policy, and not just a policy for death, but a policy for life. You know, and which we've had on this show, Tony out of California, Tony Golden, you know, about the independent universal life, okay? In the universal life programs that help pay for the other facilities. Now, get off of that. What if you do have Medicare and Medicaid? Guess what? That has changed too. It used to be where everybody just thought, okay, well, you can only go to the nursing home. Nope. Times have changed. I have a family member now that's living at an assisted living, and it's brand new, and they took Medicaid, and Medicaid is paying for it, and they are beautiful, and they have all the amenities just the same as the other ones. And I'm like, wow, there's been a change. And yes, it is a first come, first serve. They when the news get out that a new one is coming and they accept certain insurances, they fill up fast, but you still have to meet criteria. Yeah, there is a criteria. There's a point system. I have been in the interviews, and they'll tell you, okay, they can be here if they get this additional package. If they get this, what do they need help with? Because you can sit up there and try to, they can do. The proof is in the pudding when the family is gone and that person is there and you see what's happening. No, they really do need assistance with medication. That we're noticing when we go in to check on them, medicine is still sitting there. They're not getting out the bed. They don't want you staying in the bed.
Right.
They
That's
want
right.
you to come out and be a part of the activities.
Yes.
You know, it was this one where no, you couldn't travel to Spain, but they brought Spain to you. They had the travel club, and then it was a lady. She was 100 years old and was the editor for the newsletter.
Yes.
It kept her going. I'm
Yes.
serious. 3 meals a day. Dietary needs. You know, the more care, that's why treatment planning, care planning. I mean, all that was, and this again, this is those conversations we don't like to have.
Well, we don't like to have them. My mother was very reluctant to move to assisted living. She had her nose turned up. She was unhappy. She connected it with being in like a nursing home. And my family had very old perceptions of nursing homes because, you know, they were all older, and they was just like, no, it's a nursing home, and they had very old perceptions of nursing homes. But my mother, when we finally, we sent her, she went to a very new assisted living. She did go on a Medicaid waiver, and she loved it. She ended up being I called her the administrative assistant of the old folks coalition. Because she ended up being, you know, the assistant, and she did a lot of crafts like me, and she ended up being with the what was the young lady that did all the crafts, the activities director.
Yeah,
she was activity director's assistant because she loved her. Because my mother, we're all creative, so she was doing with her, but she had to come. My mother loved to cook, so she didn't want to come. She had a kitchen, you know, she had a full apartment, so she didn't like to go down to the cafeteria to eat. But one of the requirements was that she had to eat at least 2 meals a day out of the cafeteria. So she wasn't always thrilled with that, but she would go down. They said even if you don't eat the food, you have to go to the cafeteria twice a day. So she would go down there to eat. And my uncle lived with my mother. And so he was in there too. And so, but she loved, the one thing I loved the most about it was it forced her to have interaction with others, because living in a house with just her and my uncle, she wasn't around a lot of people.
Right.
And so she enjoyed the interaction with others also. And she was also diagnosed diabetic, and she wasn't getting her insulin, and she wasn't eating correctly. So, you know, to me, it extended her life just because they were making sure she got her medicine and she was eating. And she was up and about, and she was out, and she was socializing. They went to Walmart, they went to movies, they went to plays, they did all these different things, and she loved it. And yes, she had a Medicaid. Both of them were qualified for Medicaid waiver. And the building, the one she went to, was a new facility. And both of them qualified. They each had their, and it was concerned for my uncle because he was special needs. And I was concerned about him living on his own, but since they put him in an apartment close to my mother, he was able to live on his own, and we were able to keep an eye on him. So it was a wonderful experience all the way around. And you talk about relieved. I mean, we were close, and they were close enough to me and my sister that we could go see them like every other day. But I mean, they were on top of it. My mother had congestive heart failure a couple of times. They call us, and we could be at the hospital by the time they got her to the hospital. So the experience was wonderful all the way around. So then I had that background also to go with. And so I'm not concerned about myself, because I'm at the point now where once I can no longer be at this level, then I already know that my next step, and my plan is to go to that next step, is to go to assisted living. So my plan is, if I can no longer be at this level, then I will go to the next step of assisted living. And I've already planned out, you know, my latter parts of my life all the way up to my death, actually. because of the way that my family didn't have their things laid out, and I've had to deal with that. Then I just want to take care of it. I just want it done and taken care of. Because the one thing that we as culturally, as a race, that we don't take care of our end of days, and we should think about it, and we don't. We wait until it happens, and we count on other people to do it for us or to take care of it. And we act like we're afraid of it. And it's nothing to be afraid of, because it happens. And it's going to happen. And then we wait for our children or our grandchildren, or really, I don't think we think about who's going to take care of it. We just die and then let somebody else just handle it because we're gone. And it's terrible to put that burden on our loved ones like that. And so I don't want that to happen to mine. So I've already planned all of it out and pretty much taken care of it. And even it's not morbid. It's just natural.
I really think that my parents' life, although they were in their 90s, I think they would have lived a little bit longer.
I know they would have.
If they were in assisted living. I think that, with her having that surgery and stuff, that probably,
But she still was spunky after that.
She was still spunky. Oh, spunky Imogene. Yeah. Imogene.
And here's spunky. The thing. Now I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to try not to cry. I know they would have been here longer. Had they, because my sister-in-law tried to get them to do it. Then we came and we took them. We found this one place in Maryville, Indiana called the Town Center. Denisa, when I tell you this was literally a place for the senior community. They had a store. They had a movie theater. They had a chapel. They had a beauty shop. They had they had the restaurant. They had the courtyard. They had the walking path. They had no need to leave unless they wanted to go shopping or to go to the doctor or go somewhere with the family. But they had it was literally a town within the building. It was a town. It was named appropriate. It's right in Maryville off of 60-something in Cleveland. The Town Place Center or something like that. I was so impressed with them. And then the apartments were so nice. You could have a 1-bedroom studio, 2-bedroom. It was so nice. I mean, they thought of everything. And one of the things that they do in your interview is they find out, what did you do? What was your profession? From the housewife to a veteran to the professional, the banker, the the attorney, and they find something for you to do. They may say, like, what if you used to work for the post office? They say, you know what? Could you be over the mail? They get so spunky and get so excited about, and they take pride in it. Well, I'll be the one over this, and listen, you better not mess up their stuff. They will come for you. I've seen them do it. I've worked in the buildings, and it's a wonderful thing. Yes, they sit and eat on bone china. They not eating on paper plates.
That's right.
They're not. They full meals. I'm telling you. Stuff is not the same. People, you got to go out. Just go out and go visit. How can I help you today? You know what? I'm looking for myself for the future to see what's out here. Now, if you can stay in your home, that is fine. You may have to get you a caregiver, can you afford it? Now I'm going to tell you the experience with that. You can get so sick in your home that it's more expensive to live in your home and pay for people to come in than it is for you to pay for the senior assisted living, the independent living. We know firsthand. So that's where the planning comes in. And for all the people that say, well, honey, I'm just waiting on Jesus to rapture me, for the rapture to come. You know what? It might not be. Then what?
Yep.
The Lord just gonna rapture us. Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's right.
It might be a personal one. Then what? Huh?
Right.
You know,
That's
so when you fail to plan, you're planning to fail.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Any last words? We're going to wrap this on up. Any last words? Any words of encouragement?
Yeah, I just want to, I like to encourage, I think that when you get to a certain age that, nobody in their 20s and 30s wants to think about the end of life, live life, enjoy life. I believe in it. Even now, I want to live my life and enjoy my life and have a wonderful time with it. But I just believe that when you get, and I believe in insurance and all that good stuff, but I just believe that when you get to a certain age, be it your 40s or 50s or whatever, and, just when you plan for the inevitable. I'm sorry, I have to be the one, but I'm encouraging people, plan for the end of days. Don't make it sound like it's something horrible. It's not horrible. It's not. Just go ahead and take care of it. Don't expect someone else to take care of that for you. It's just the same way as if you would take care of your car. When you buy a car, if you bought a car in 1950, that car is not going to be running in 2025. If you bought a house in 1950, that house is going to need maintenance. You can't expect your body to live forever. Come on now. You can't. Just go on and plan it. I know it sounds crazy, but when people see commercials from the funeral homes talking about you can pre-plan your services, they be like, oh, it's not scary, people. It's not scary. It's not. It's really not. It's really practical. It really is. It really is. Because I tell you, after burying 8, 9 people in less than 6 years, I'm telling you, it's not scary. Scary is when you're trying to figure out how to bury that many people with no insurance. Scary is that scary. And your loved ones. And they're your loved ones. That's scary.
Yeah.
Okay? And just thank God. Thank God, because no one wants you love yourself. This is what it is. I love me. I love me. If you love yourself, take care of yourself to the end.
That's right.
That's what I have. That's it right there. Love yourself to the very, very end.
All right. And that's it.
And that's it. And that's right.
Well, listen, we thank you for your wisdom, your experience.
Again, y'all, I don't know why she in assisted living.
No, she's not in assisted living.
I mean, I'm not sure why she's in independent living. Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why not. You ain't. I can tell she got a good one just based on the walls and the doors.
But I don't know. She too young to be standing in there. She must have forged her. She must have got a fake ID just to be older than what she is.
What's the minimum? It's the minimum age 55. It's the minimum age 55 to be there. What's the minimum age?
Yeah, 55 and over.
I don't know. You look mighty young to me.
Was she doing something right? That's right.
Might be a single man out there. That's right.
I'm not gonna even tell y'all the STD rate.
That's right.
I'm not gonna tell y'all that it's one of the highest in the senior community. STDs.
That's wrong.
I'm telling you.
If it was a man, then I wouldn't be in assisted living.
Oh.
Well.
Huh.
Oh my. Well, that wraps up this show.
Somewhere.
Okay, then.
Well, listen, we thank you for joining us. We'll call you right after. We're going to wrap it. But no, you shared a lot of good information, practical experience, information. You shared your personal story, and we thank you. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you for
Thanks for
joining
having me.
and being part of the Chris and Carlette Live. Make sure you share with this with your family and your friends. Tag them and let them say, yeah,
Tag
Denisa
'em.
was on. They need to watch this.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I shared it. I hope they got on. I hope they see it. I'll share it.
All right. See you.
All right. We'll talk
See
to
you
you.
later.
Peace.
All righty.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
All
Well, there you
right.
go.
There with it. That's right. That's right.
Well, we just want to thank you all. Thank you again.
Thank
she
you.
gave us some good information. When you don't,
And Joseph
when
Walters
you fail
was
to plan,
on.
you plan to fail. You're planning to fail,
Yes,
and
the
that just
apostle.
falls on everybody. Just saying,
Mm-hmm.
I like the way I look tonight. This blue was cute.
All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the Chris and Carlette Live show. If you like the content that not if you like, but regardless,
Since you like.
make sure you like and subscribe
Just saying.
and share this powerful message about when it's time for Apostle Javon Blakely to consider senior housing,
You know what?
along with Joseph Walters.
You know what?
And
As I say every week, listen, seek the
Yes.
face of God. It's time to pray. It's always time to pray. The Lord wants to hear your voice. Call upon him while he may be found and while he is near, honey. He wants to hear your voice. He wants to hear your voice. He wants to hear your petition. He wants to hear your cry. He wants you to love on him. And you know what? We're talking about the name of Jesus. No other God that we are talking about on this here show, the Chris and Carlette Live. We love you. We appreciate you. And if you don't know Christ, let us know. We want to pray for you. Okay? We love you. Take care. And we'll see you later.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us this week on Chris and Carlette Live. Make sure to visit our website, chrisandcarlette.com. If you're on Facebook, share this broadcast. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our show. You may also find us on Apple Podcast, where you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. Let us stay in contact with you by texting CNC Live to 474747. That's CNC Live to 474747.